is a 73-degree day on February the 8th, and Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State are set to go at it inside Pete Matthews Coliseum on Saturday afternoon. Conference USA basketball. Hi, everybody. Welcome in to Jacksonville, Alabama. Eli Gold and Mickey Shadricks. Well, Jacksonville State, they've been playing awfully well. A 7-game winning streak. That, of course, is the longest in Conference USA. It's 11th, the longest in the nation. And the team that has the longest winning streak, the Auburn Tigers, they've won 14 in a row. They're trailing right now by 4 at halftime against the Florida Gators. But it goes a whole lot deeper than just these two teams. They've both got superstars.
They do. They've got two of the top scorers in the league, and as we go into this game, we see why that game on Thursday, the win over Middle Tennessee, was so big, Eli, because it put Jack State 2 games ahead of a 4-team or a 3-team pack right behind them in second place. This Gamecock winning streak coming at a very good time schedule-wise for them.
Meanwhile, you take a look at the overall standings as we just did, and you've got to thank Jaron Pierre. If you're a Jack State Gamecock, he had a career high 36 against Middle Tennessee here on Thursday.
And most of the damage was from the behind the three-point line. He hit 10 threes, so 30 points of his 36 came from deep. He was virtually unstoppable. As you see in these highlights, there's really no defense for the way Pierre was shooting the ball on Thursday.
Then there's Don McHenry, who has been twice now named Conference USA Player of the Week. He's number 4 in the conference in scoring.
Yeah, he has 5 games this season where he has scored over 27 points, and you saw the 30 points he put on the board at Kennesaw on Thursday night. He is a dynamic scorer. He can score at all 3 levels, and he's been doing it for a while for Western Kentucky, and they're going to need him to have a big offensive game today if they want to knock off the Gamecocks and put a halt to this 7-game winning streak.
So there are numbers that most anybody would love to have on their side of the ledger. McHenry with 30 points, tying his career high, and Pierre with new career highs in both points and 3-point field goals. So that's how things are stacking up for this afternoon as we are live with you here at the Pete Matthews Coliseum, Jacksonville, Alabama. It's the Gamecocks in white, trimmed in red, and the Hilltoppers, because their university has been built on top of a hill in Western Kentucky, in Bowling Green. They're in the black with the red and white.
We mentioned this winning streak. I want to say this before the tip. The 2 most impressive wins on that streak are Jack State's last 2 wins. 11-point win over Liberty last Saturday, a 14-point win Thursday over Middle Tennessee. Gamecocks playing their best basketball of the season.
So here come the Hilltoppers now in the black. They do not have 4 of their top players here today. Maybe not the exact top of the roster, but darn close, as a power move to the window by Tyrone Marshall gives the Hilltoppers the early 2-0 lead.
Hilltoppers don't waste a lot of time getting their shot off either. Very up-tempo, fast-paced team. Shot clock won't come into play very much when they've got the basketball.
House rims out, no good. Rebound Marshall. Between the circles, Braxton Bayless, he's 0, comes in on the paint, pulls back around the D, and makes it count. So a 4-point lead here early for Western Kentucky. House goes to the paint, and the defense of Don McHenry stays with him, number 2. Fall away will not go down for Jaron Pierre. McHenry slid to a stop there. Marshall. Bayless feeds it inside. Battle of the big man. The turnaround is no good for Blaze Keita.
Speaking of the big man, Mason Nicholson had maybe his best game of the year in the first meeting between these two. He had 20 points, 12 rebounds.
Marshall with the steal, and he runs the court and drops it in for 2 more. A 6-0 early lead for the visiting Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky, and that's going to bring a couple of subs off the bench for the Gamecocks at the next opportunity. House on the right side. Nowhere to go for Brigham. Shot clock at 4. And it's short by Jerron Pierre, who by this time on Thursday had about a dozen points. Inside, foul counted on Mason Nicholson. His first and the team's first.
Kind of the kind of start you want if you're the Toppers, and here you see one of the big reasons why is the inside game. The foul inside and free throws coming, and Tyrone Marshall with a couple of baskets. So the Hilltoppers would love nothing more than to be the team to put a halt to this 7-game winning streak. They feel like they owe the Gamecocks one after losing to Jack State on their home floor in the first meeting.
Keita makes it a 7-0 ball game. And they're going to overtime. The women are. The women of Jacksonville State and the Lady Hilltoppers. They're playing at the Diddle Arena in Western Kentucky today. And they have just gone to overtime in their ball game. And now an 8-0 lead.
And this is one of these Ray Harper substitutions, Eli. JP's already on the bench, not even 3 minutes into the game. He's missed his first 2 shots. Coach Harper does this a lot. He'll take a guy out, put him right back in, almost a reset.
Yep. A bump right there goes uncalled. Cotton to Ituka. And it won't go down. Rebound put back up by Michael Hogue. He had 13 the other day, had 3 in the game at Western Kentucky. And the Gamecocks are on the board.
I'm going to call Hogue Mr. First Half because he had 11 points in the first half the other night against Middle Tennessee. He had 10 points in the first half last Saturday against Liberty.
And there's a tray off the perimeter by Christian Lander. Lander, the grad student from Evansville, Indiana. A 9-point lead now for Western Kentucky. House spins, shoots, hits it. Ron House. He had 14 against the Hilltoppers at Diddle Arena earlier this season. Other end of the floor, Gamecocks get the ball back. Ituka drives, stops, and gets the roll. Now Ituka.
You know, he is such a strong finisher at the basket, as you saw there. He didn't really have much of a contribution to the Jack State offense in the win against Middle Tennessee, but he comes in the game and gives his team a quick spark today when they need it.
But we have an air ball there. That wraps up the first session of play. We've come to a timeout. 15:33 remaining in the opening half. Western Kentucky up by 5. Welcome back, everybody. There you see the series history between these two schools. Last time, 73-69. The Gamecocks won it at the Diddle Arena. Coach Ray Harper takes a seat there, and we are back underway here in Jacksonville. Here's House now to Ituka, who drives on the big man. Marshall gets him for 2.
Wow, that
nicely
is
done.
Such strength by Jao Ituka. When he first attempted that move into the lane, I thought he'll never get this up over the defense, but little pump fake and strong strong move, and he got it to finish.
And Ituka at 6'1", Tyrone Marshall at 6'7", as the ball goes to the Hilltoppers. Blaze Keita will take a seat now. And Leroy Odiaye comes in. Here's Lander. 5 on the shot clock. One-hander with English for Braxton Bayless.
Boy, you're not kidding about that. That ball didn't look like it had enough to get over the rim, but had the right spin.
Yes, it did. A lot of it. 13-8 as House tries to penetrate, dribbles it off the foot, gets it back. There, it's knocked out of the hands, and that'll be a chance for a substitution. House takes a seat, and Jaron Pierre, who started, comes back. If you're curious, Babacar Faye, Julius Tetford, Jack Edlin, and Enoch Kalambe all inactive today for Western Kentucky. There's a nice one-hand touch that doesn't fall. Kalambe woke up with the flu, so he's unable to play today. And that means only 7 scholarship players for the Toppers, but they are taking a 15-8 lead now here in the early stages of the first half.
You know, before their 7-point loss at Kennesaw Thursday, they had won 3 in a row, so they'd love to get back on the winning track, and they are definitely playing with a lot of energy and pace here in the first half of this one.
Jalen Jackson gives it to McHenry, and Don gets it for Trey. And a timeout is being taken by Jacksonville State. It'll be a 30-second timeout, so Coach Harper wants to talk things over. A 7-game winning streak for the Gamecocks. And those are the Hilltoppers right there, who themselves are playing pretty good ball. They are one of the top 2 most experienced basketball teams in America. Louisville and Western Kentucky, 2 of the most experienced teams in the country.
Interesting fact there, and you know, one of those experienced guys is Don McHenry. You know, he is starting today. He had been coming off the bench, but really doesn't matter whether he starts or comes off the bench. He is lightning in a bottle when it comes to pace and points, and he is off to a good start today. That 3 has put his team up by 10. So on the road here, Western Kentucky off to a pretty hot clip, shooting the ball at 70%.
Outside, Hogue feeds the corner, and the fall away is short for Corey Cotton. All the shots that were falling on Thursday night are not falling here today. And another tray by Braxton Bayless makes it a 13-point lead for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, they just appear to have more pep in their step. Jack State seems a little lethargic, and Gamecocks are going to have to continue to fight through this and maybe try to get this crowd involved a little bit, get some energy.
Ituka slapped, and there'll be a foul called. It'll be Jalen Jackson picks up his first personal foul. Jackson from San Antonio, Texas, his first and the team's first.
This has been Jack State's main offense here so far, has been Jal Ituka. Strong drives downhill to the basket. He has come off the bench and scored 4, even though he missed that free throw. Without Jal here, the Gamecocks would be in even a bigger hole.
Meanwhile, the women are playing the same 2 schools. The ladies going at it in E.A. Diddle Arena in Bowling Green, and Western Kentucky up by 2 with a minute to go in overtime in that one. So the Hilltoppers, who have hit their last 4 shots in a row, trying for 5, and they got it. Oh my, they are on fire here today. Marshall letting that one fly. Pierre. He'll shoot over everybody and makes it go. Is that a field goal that'll wake everybody up for the Gamecocks? We'll see.
It got the fans a little more interested, and that time JP was just determined to get his shot off. He was bound and determined to try to end this scoring drought, and he did with his first 3 of the day.
There's Bayless. He is on fire today. Bayless with 7 early points, make it 9, excuse me. He had 10 the other day against Kennesaw, but only 5 in the whole game that these two teams played at Bowling Green. Niago gives it to Atuka. And a cross-court pass stolen. And the one-hand jam by Christian Lander does not go. But there is going to be a foul called. It'll be the first on Yaroslav Niago. And we have a timeout here in Jacksonville, Alabama. Western Kentucky out of the box shooting 77% to take the big lead. Welcome back here to Jacksonville, Alabama, where the Jacksonville State Gamecocks trail Western Kentucky 26-12. Hank Plona is the head coach, graduate of Providence College in his first year at Western and his first year as a head coach, but he has had some outstanding successes as an assistant coach for many, many years. The game at Diddle Arena between the ladies representing these two schools. They're in overtime, and it's a 2-point deficit for Jacksonville State. Western's women leading as they head down the final few seconds of the first overtime. Here's House now. Into the forecourt, finds Nicholson. Defense staying tight, and up goes Jaron Pierre, and he gets hacked. That'll be Jalen Jackson, they say, got him, and that'll be his second. He's got both fouls for the Toppers. And Jaron Pierre is at the line. The women are now a final 68-64 in overtime. The ladies winning that one for Western Kentucky. 68-64 in overtime. And the shots, 28-14.
And Jack State employing a little full court pressure, if nothing else, to maybe get them going a little more.
The coaches arguing thought there was a travel, but there is instead a 3. Coach Harper in the ear of the officials. House feeds the corner, and the shot no good. Shooting percentage down to 40% for Jacksonville State. 79% from Red Towel country.
Yeah, incredible shooting here by a multitude of players on this Western Kentucky team, and moving the ball and sharing the ball and making great cuts and playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Cada found Bayless.
And they are paying close attention to Pierre at the three-point line. They are clearly trying to run him off the three-point line and not give him any window to get a shot off from 3.
And it's worked so far. Here he spins in, sets up Hogue at the tray line, and in close. Mason Nicholson took his time. made sure he had the right angle and put it in.
You know, Mason shoots an incredible 70% from the floor. He's 36 of 51 on the season. If anything else, Mason just needs to get up some more shots, as Jack State does try to get it into him a lot and work their offense through him in the paint.
Bayless has another bucket. 13 points for Braxton Bayless, the transfer from Niagara, who actually initially played for his current head coach, Plona, in junior college at Indian Hills Community College in Iowa. Pierre. That would have gone down, come out, and gone down again the other day. That's the difference a day makes, or two. A 3-try. In and out for McHenry.
That feels like their first miss in like 10 minutes. I mean, they have been hitting every shot it seemingly they put up.
They are 13 of 17. Up it goes, no, rebound. Jacksonville State. Should be a new shot clock. They recycle it now. And a foul on the reach in by Christian Lander. It'll be his first and the third for the Gamecocks.
And that's a great example of the game plan for the Toppers, being very physical with Duran out on the perimeter. As you see here, just physical play here by Lander. A little too physical getting the foul, but they are really trying to get after number 5 and affect him and not give him anything easy.
Lander used to play for the Hoosiers. If you're wondering where have I heard that name, he was on the Indiana roster. Now Pierre. House got it for 3. Kelron House.
Great look there by JP as they were taking the ball out of his hands. Found a wide open teammate in the corner. As Jeron Pierre, always like to mention this, 4.2 assists. That is 4th in the league.
Kelron House getting that foul. His first, team's third. You know, we talk about Indiana, and that's where Lander came from. Did you see where just yesterday Mike Woodson announced that he is stepping down as the head coach at Indiana?
Yeah, you kind of got the sense this season that that was a strong possibility. They entered the season with as good a transfer class as you can have out of the portal, but the season just has not played out like many were hoping for the Hoosiers.
They've lost 4 in a row and 6 of their last 7. Free throws by Kita are good. Kita is from Mali, by the way, if you wonder what kind of a name that is. There's House. He's from Louisville, if you're wondering what kind of a name that is.
I'm familiar with Louisville.
Yes. McHenry finds Jalen Dorsey. Dorsey, only in his 11th game, a former walk-on and a manager for the team. And the shot clock violation right there.
And took away a runaway finish for Jeron Pierre. Coach Harper not happy about that at all.
He's talking to the officials about it. And Blake Harris just shrugs his shoulders and what can I do? I mean, that's what happened, Coach. And we have a timeout here in Jacksonville. 7:32 remaining in the half. It's all Hilltoppers here in the early going. Welcome back, everybody. Looking at the Hilltopper bench right there. They have hit 9 of their last 10 field goals. And if you see that number 45 there on the jersey on the right shoulder, there's a reason for that, of course, and we'll tell you in a moment as the bucket by Jacksonville State makes it a 16-point Western Kentucky lead. Number 45, that honors Western Kentucky Hall of Famer Bobby Rasco. He played back in the days of Coach Diddle And Bobby passed away in August, and so many folks up in the Bowling Green area and around college basketball knew the name Bobby Rasco. So the Hilltoppers wearing that number 45 patch on their shoulders. And they're getting hot now and clapping his hands. Is Jaron Pierre trying to pick up his pace and that of his teammates.
Yeah, they got a nice backdoor cut to him on the baseline on the previous possession, and that is just Jaron knocking down the three there. So 5 straight points by Pierre.
He has 10 on the day of the 24 for the team. But there's another try by Tyrone Marshall, and he is just hotter than a firecracker as Marshall makes it a 42-24 lead.
Yeah, Marshall with 12, Bayless with 13. Those two quite a first half offensively.
Pierre got it for 2 more.
So Jaron slowly heating up here, and that can tend to get the crowd involved and also maybe get his teammates a little more active.
He had that 36-point night here on Thursday against Middle Tennessee. 13 of 24 from the floor, 10 of 16 from Trey Land. He had assists, he had rebounds, he did it all. A hook shot is short by Odiaye, and it's taken the other way. Off the mark by Pierre. And now bringing it up is Don McHenry. McHenry everybody watching. McHenry only 5 points in this one. I say only 5 points. He averages 18.3. That's 4th best in the conference. And there's a 3 right there, and timeout being taken by Western Kentucky. Hank Plona says, I've seen how this plays out in the past, and he wants to slow everybody down. So Corey Cotton with the assist from House, and it gives the Gamecocks to within 13 points. Watch it again.
I was just thinking Corey had been quiet. He'd only taken 1 shot before that 3, and you know, if JP was Batman on Thursday night, Corey was Robin, because he had a great game as well. 17 points. He was 5 of 6 from 3. So seeing Corey Cotton get a little more involved on the offensive end definitely would be a good sign for the Gamecocks.
And those of you who aren't aware, or maybe don't follow the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, they are 10-0 here at home this year. And over the last 5 years, they are 46-19. And that's something that the coaches know very, very well. Ray Harper, 593 career wins, 246 losses in 26 years. So he's within shouting distance of 600 career victories. Coach Plona is in his first year with the Toppers, 14 up and 9 down. Jalen Jackson to Marshall, who drops it outside from McHenry. Nice screen set inside by Keita, and a floater to the window, no good, but the rebound by Keita, and he travels. The big man dragged the leg just a little bit. So Blaze Keita, the Nebraska transfer, who didn't play a year ago because of that ankle injury that kept him on the shelf all season long. And now House for Jacksonville State. Cotton to the window, no. Rebound, JSU. Corey Cotton gets the offensive board and puts it back, and now at mid-floor. Good pressure on Lander. Baseline run, count it, for Don McHenry.
That's just an explosive move downhill. He had two Gamecock defenders bearing down on it, and he still was able to reach out and get that basket to fall.
And there's Pierre shooting over top of the D. 11-point lead for Western Kentucky as we near the end of the first half. McHenry throws it away. It'll be Jacksonville ball when play continues, but right now we have a timeout. 3:12 remaining in the half. An 11-point lead for the visitors from Western Kentucky. There is Coach Ray Harper after trailing by 19 early. His team is now down by 11. They're starting to shoot pretty well, 50%. It still pales to the 67% from Western Kentucky.
Well, Jaron Pierre definitely got the crowd energized a little bit with some offensive plays he has made, and Gamecocks are picking it up on the defensive end as well, and they've got a chance here, Eli, with 3 minutes to go in the half to get this down to single digits, which if they can do that, that would be an accomplishment as well and as good as Western Kentucky has shot the ball here in the first half.
The shot by Cotton, however, did not go. Here's Marshall feeding to Kita, and a floater going left is Jackson. That will not come down, and it's brought in by Mason Nicholson up to Pierre. Right side, one hop to Hogue, and there's a tray. Michael Hogue, the St. Peter's transfer, who also played at Walters State Community College and Mars Hill. There's a steal by Corey Cotton. The alley and the oop. And all of a sudden, the Gamecocks starting to tighten it up. A 7-0, now a 9-0 run in the last minute 25.
Completely different level of energy right now for Jacksonville State.
Trying to drive through. Nothing for Bayless. And a block. Beautifully done by Mason Nicholson. House has it. House trying to get around Lander, number 4.
Mismatch here. See if they double.
Jaron Pierre, the fall away, too strong. And there's a foul over the back by the Hilltoppers.
Interesting there. They left Jalen Jackson one-on-one with Pierre. They did not come over and double. Still, Jackson did a good job making it a difficult shot for Jaron, but a foul inside on the rebound.
4th foul by Western. The first on Kita. .87 seconds remaining in this up and down first half, to be sure. Cotton, it's off the big body of Nicholson, and he couldn't make the play.
Yeah, missed opportunity that time for the Gamecocks.
Turnover number 3 for Jacksonville State, and the one-hander by Leroy Odiaye will not go down.
Toppers have definitely cooled off. Gamecocks have heated up a bit here late in the first half.
Hogue, no good. The Toppers now shooting 59% to Jacksonville State's 50%. Blocked away, going to the window. Here's House running the floor, lost the ball, taken by the Hilltoppers, broken on the right side. Here's a 3, no by McHenry, and it's taken with 1 time remaining here. You can have your choice to run the clock out as the shot clock is dark. A 6-point ball game. It had been 19. Pierre, no. Ooh, And it did not go down, but it was close. And we have come to halftime, 44-38. Boy, what an up and down half, huh?
Boy, all things considered, Jacksonville State goes to the locker room with this game in single digits. And the key thing for the Gamecocks is they found their energy there late in the first half. Western Kentucky playing fantastic here on the road, but things have kind of settled back to the mean. As you mentioned, Eli, the shooting percentages almost even after Western Kentucky dominating in that area for most of the first half.
We'll recap it all for Conference USA's Jacksonville State Gamecocks and Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Here on ESPN as we welcome you back. Second half, Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky. Western had led by 19 early in the day, and now Jacksonville, though having never led, have drawn to within 6, Mickey.
Yeah, they have, and you see here some of the highlights of the first half, and I tell you, it was a great first half for Marshall. You saw him make the basket inside, and also McHenry, Dorsey, all those guys that got off to a good start. Jalatuka came off the bench and kind of gave Jack State a spark with a couple of baskets coming right off the bench. And then Jerron Pierre got it going there, Eli, about midway through the first half, and the Gamecocks went on a run to close the first half and got this game into single digits here at halftime.
So that's how we stand at this stage of the afternoon. Western Kentucky looking for victory number 15 on the season. Jacksonville State looking for win number 17 on the year. And of course, if Jacksonville State wins today, that would be their 4th straight weekend sweep in Conference USA play this season.
Yeah, and again, the Gamecocks starting the game a little, I think a little lethargic, and you know, that was a big win on Thursday night over Middle Tennessee, and the Gamecocks coming out today and obviously favored against Western Kentucky, who they've already beaten once, and Western Kentucky missing one of their key players. But Western Kentucky really hit the Gamecocks in the mouth at the beginning of this game, but we've settled in and should be a very fun second half.
Here's House, the man you just saw interviewed at halftime. Kelron feeds to Cotton. Nice give to the cutter, and there's a foul. A foul, as cutting to the middle was Jerron Pierre, and he was fouled by Blaze Keita. It'll be the second on Keita and the first on the Gamecocks, on the Hilltoppers here in the second half. And Pierre is at the line. A 43%, a 79% shooter from the stripe. And he misses that one. He had 12 points and 3 rebounds in Bowling Green earlier this season. He's now got 15 points here today, so he's had a good series against the Toppers.
And I mentioned, you know, they've been really paying attention to him out at the three-point line. He's taken advantage of the overplaying and has made some great cuts. I think that's the 3rd time his teammates have found him on the way to the basket on a backdoor cut with the defender overplaying him.
Tyrone Marshall, underhand dish, taken away on a turnover. Turnover number 5. House. Yes, and a foul. Yes, and a foul. Don McHenry picks up his first personal foul.
Great elevation, as you saw there.
Yep.
Kelron finishing and getting to the line.
Shooting one to make it a 2-point ball game, which he does. The Gamecocks, who are up by 2 games on everybody in Conference USA, trying to get themselves back into this one. And there's going to be a whistle and the jam, but the play was already dead. but McHenry picked up the personal foul, and it will be his second, the team's third. Inbounding will be the Gamecocks. Tyrone Marshall takes a seat now. Braxton Bayless checks in. He has 13. Cotton drives, dishes, and a nice jam home by Mason Nicholson, and we are all tied at 44, coming back from a 19-point deficit.
Beautiful play by Corey. Strong drive to the basket, drew the help defender, found Big Mason free under the basket.
Gamecocks have never led in this ball game. Baseline drive, over the head try by Jackson, taken away by Jacksonville State. Here's House. He shoots it off the mark, an air ball, and that curved away. Long lead up the floor, spin into the paint. It won't go for Lander, but there is a whistle and a foul.
Coach Harper calling over his true freshman. I know what he's thinking. That's not the shot we want in that situation, as you see the melee there and the foul inside against Jack State. But Coach Harper instructing his point guard over there in front of the Jack State bench. You know, Kelron got his first career start against this team up in Hilltopper country. Yep. And he's starting to put together another effective game here with 8 points so far.
Lander makes the first shot. And now Marshall replaces Jalen Dorsey for the Toppers. And the second free throw coming for Lander. His dad played football. Christian's dad, Keith, played football at Western Kentucky. And a 2-point lead. Again, Jacksonville State has never led. Western led by 19 at one point in the first half. McHenry with his arms stretched against House. Pierre to House. Good job flagging it down. And he pops it off the glass. He was out of control there. He was sliding. Yeah, he slid on the way up. McHenry was right there, and somehow Caron got it to fall. And McHenry misses, and it's taken by the Gamecocks with a chance to take the lead for the first time today. Corey Cotton, short. Brought back by Lander. Here's Lander cutting through, gets his pocket picked. Turnover. Corey Cotton, short. Rebound, he's fouled. It'll be a two-shot opportunity here. The foul on Jalen Jackson. It'll be his third. Nice job there by Corey. Left it short, but stayed with it, and then the foul occurred there, and he'll earn a trip to the line. And again, looking for their first lead of the evening or the afternoon. Coming back from a 19-point deficit to take the lead. Wow. It's been a long way back. You know, there was a time in the first half where Western Kentucky's shooting percentage was almost 80%. That was about the midway point of the first half. Gamecocks were down by a lot and never panicked, kept their poise, and now they've got a 2-point lead. The Gamecocks with a 10-2 lead here in the beginning of the second half. A 10-2 streak to open the second period. Alone, right side of the paint for two, Jalen Jackson. He's a grad transfer from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Also played at North Texas for a couple of years. Cotton thought about passing it to Niagu, and as it, I'll just keep it.
That was a smooth play there. You're right. He saw Niagu rolling, but his defender sagged, and that's not an easy shot from about 5 or 6 feet in front of the basket. But he made it.
A 2-point lead stays there as the Gamecocks clear the glass. Backing in. A block, no foul, and the recovery by Hogue. He'll put it in, and timeout. A full timeout being taken by Western Kentucky. And how about that? You come from 19 down to take a 4-point lead here in the second half. It's that kind of game. We're coming right back with more on ESPN+. Getting back to work here, a 4-point Jacksonville State lead. That's what Joe Lunardi has, the bracketologist for ESPN. Right now, today, of course it changes, but he has Jacksonville State as a number 14 seed, and they'd face Marquette in the South region in the first round in Atlanta. That's as of today. But it's nice to be included, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You're in the conversation.
Yes.
Obviously, things are going to change, but if you're in the conversation right now, you're probably going to stay in the conversation.
Definitely. 3-point try. Nicely done by Christian Lander. Nicely done by Lander. He's got 10 points on the day. He had 28 the other day against Texas El Paso. And a 3 out of the corner for Jao Ituka. He hasn't done a whole lot of that lately.
No, and he's had to get downhill and drive today because obviously the scouting report on Jao is he's a great 3-point shooter. So Western Kentucky making him put the ball on the floor.
And then here's Lander coming right back and shooting another tray.
Neither team blinking right now. This is a great back and forth battle here as things have tightened up here in the second half.
Lander with 16, and there's a jump ball. The arrow is in Western Kentucky's favor, so the ball will go over to the Hilltoppers after we have this timeout here in Jacksonville, Alabama. We're live on ESPN+, the Gamecocks and the Hilltoppers. We're coming right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pete Matthews Coliseum. That's what's going on around the state of Alabama. You see how everybody is faring. All the schools, including Auburn, right now they are down by 13 to Florida with 2 minutes to go. So it looks as though that 14-game winning streak may well go by the wayside. Meanwhile, in close, Braxton Bayless for the Hilltoppers. And he puts them back on top, 56-55.
Yeah, Bayless had a really good first half, especially to start the game. Really got the Toppers going. Haven't heard from him in a while, but again, as you said, 15 points and a big bucket there.
Jao Ituka stops, pops, and it's short and nearly goes out of bounds, but was caught by Lander. He'll bring it up the floor, and then there's a foul. Looking for an opening was Marcellus Brigham, but he commits the personal foul. It'll be his first. It is the team's second. You know, averaging 12.8 personal fouls per game, which is 6th best in the NCAA. And today, only 5 personal fouls. 3 in the first half, 2 here in the second. Baseline, Marshall. And the basket for 2. Thought I heard a whistle there out of the stands, but not. And it's a 3-point Western lead.
Marshall, a really solid game. 14 points. He's 6 of 8 from the floor. Zone defense here by the Toppers.
Cotton got it for 3.
Well, perfect medicine when the zone is presented. You just take the open 3, and Corey Cotton took advantage and knocked it down.
39% from Treyland today. The Gamecocks, 7 of 18. And Cotton with the rebound. Glad you're with us on ESPN Plus. Eli Gold, Mickey Shadricks, and Jao Ituka with another tray out of the deep right corner.
And an assist for Jerron Pierre, the 4th leading assister in the conference. That was a cross-court pass to the corner. Jao Ituka open against the zone. That's back-to-back 3s. Toppers may get out of this zone here.
Here's Marshall. Cross court. Bayless looks. He's in trouble. And it goes out of bounds off Bayless. Braxton Bayless, the Niagara transfer, lost the handle. Turnover number 6 on Western Kentucky. Jacksonville State with their largest lead of the day, 3 points.
Back to the man-to-man here. No surprise as Jack State burned the Toppers back-to-back 3s against the zone.
Now the other way. Here come the Hilltoppers. And the shot won't go down for Tyrone Marshall. And the follow-up does, and Cotton gets the foul. Corey Cotton on the personal, his 2nd. Team's 3rd.
Boy, a costly turnover by the Gamecocks. The Toppers turn it into a transition basket and a chance at a 3-point play.
We're coming back with a 1-point ball game on our hands here. They're all getting busier and busier, and the games mean more and more as tournament time is not that far away. Welcome back, everybody. There's Coach Ray Harper and his Jack State Gamecocks have battled back from a 19-point deficit. Hey, remember, you can help the people affected by the California wildfires here this year. Why not donate it if you can at redcross.org/ESPN. Help the Red Cross respond and help your neighbors recover. Eli Gold, Mickey Shadricks. Tied at 61 here. This is the 9th game of the year in which the Gamecocks have come back and have been down by 10. And they have won 3 of the previous games, 3 of those previous 9. So getting down by 10, or in today's case 19, not a first.
And this is one of those games you don't see very often in college basketball. We're halfway through, almost halfway through the second half, and both of these teams are shooting over 50% from the field.
Yeah, it's amazing. $11 minutes to go. No good for Ituka. Bayless. Right side, Tyrone Marshall. Bayless back. Cross-court feed towards Marshall. Deflected away. Turnover.
Good hands by Mason, getting them up and deflecting the pass and getting the ball back for the Gamecocks.
8th turnover of the ball game for Western Kentucky. And to the paint. And a fall-away turnaround shot is good for Jerron Pierre.
That is just Jerron Pierre one-on-one against good defense, offense beating defense that time. Pierre. The crowd loves it when they see Jerron make those types of plays.
Jalen Jackson outside, a long tray. Count it for Christian Lander. That was a rainmaker, that one was.
He is 5 for 5 from deep, and you know, a couple of his threes here in the second half have just been daggers to the crowd as they were kind of energized after the play by JP, and then the 3 there by Lander.
Here is Pierre getting a hand back from Cotton. And inside, Nicholson can't hang on. Some looking for a foul. No call coming. Tyrone Marshall gets hit and put down by Jaron Pierre.
And here's another look at it. This is, you think Marshall's going to go all the way, and JP challenging the shot, coming down with that left arm, and
his first.
A nice gesture of sportsmanship, as you might have seen there. Pierre reaching out and saying something to Marshall. Just two teams going at it, two competitors going at it. And what about the game for Marshall? 17 points as he steps up to the line.
18 now. He had 24 against New Mexico State a few weeks ago. The transfer, Marshall is, out of Colby, Kansas Community College. I'll tell you, that community college system in Kansas, football, baseball, basketball, it really is, it's outstanding. It's right along Mississippi. They, of course, have a great junior college program all across the state for different sports.
You've seen a number of athletes in various sports come through those two states through the system.
Trying to back in, losing the ball was Mason Nicholson as Blaze Keita got his hands in the way, and Nicholson could not handle it.
And that was great help defense by Marshall as he came from the blind side. Mason never saw him. That was a great defensive call there by the Toppers.
So that's now 9-8, the turnovers, 9 for Western, 8 for Jacksonville State. And there's a deflection that's recovered by the Hilltoppers, and a good job inside by Mason Nicholson. Those defensive boards have been part of the key for success this year, as a floater is short by House, and the ball with Mason on the floor. He gets up. Hilltoppers run it, and House will knock it out of the hands of Braxton Bayless. Jaron Pierre now came over to help out Cotton, who had no place to go with the ball. Bayless defending, and the shot is good for 2. Jaron Pierre. He has 19. He had 12 when the teams played earlier this year in Bowling Green.
And that time Lander couldn't answer the JP basket with a 3.
Normally he does. Normally he does. That defensive rebound by Hogue. Here now, Pierre, no good. Nicholson to Cotton.
Cotton wanted a foul, said something to the official coming down the floor, no whistle.
In and out, no good out of the corner for the Hilltoppers, and all of a sudden the team's slowing down in their shooting percentage.
Yeah, all of a sudden Lander, who was 5 for 5 just a moment ago, has missed back-to-back threes.
Both teams shooting exactly 50%. Gamecocks 26 of 52, Hilltoppers 23 of 46. And there, Jaron Pierre.
Again, there's just no defense for that. He gets you on. He gets you on his hip, then he elevates, and it's just great offensive basketball by a terrific offensive player in Jaron Pierre.
In the paint, a floater off the window for Christian Lander, and a whistle and a timeout, a full timeout being taken here by the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. 69-68. 6.5 exciting minutes when we come back. There's Jaron Pierre, 21 points today for the man who leads Conference USA in scoring. He is 10th in the NCAA in points and 8th in points per game. And he has been showing the way again today for the Gamecocks. He's coming off that 36-point performance here on Thursday against Middle Tennessee. House, he'll chase it down to the corner. Niagu is in, giving Nicholson a breather. 3 on the shot clock. It's good if it goes. It does not. Hits the rim and brought up the floor by Lander. Boy, he's quick.
Yeah, and he is having a game, quite a game as well. He has 21 points, as does Jaron Pierre. Those two have just kind of been going back and forth, scoring at will here in the second half.
Lander now with 23. That's 5 points shy of his career high. He had 28 against Texas El Paso earlier this season. Here's Kelron. House. Saved by Pierre. And he gets a facial. And that's not a struggle there. They fell over each other. Odiahi and Jaron.
Yeah, here's a look at it, and I tell you what, Jalen Jackson has been playing Jaron physical.
He really has.
He's been on him, and including in that sequence, Pierre got by him and then draws the foul.
And he'll help him up. What we don't show there is that Jaron helped him up off the hardwood. At the line. Pierre makes shot one go. Earlier today, if you're just joining us, we had mentioned that 19-point deficit that the Gamecocks had, their largest deficit of the year. They had never trailed in a ball game by more than 19. McHenry blocked. What a great job by Pierre. He does it all. Ituka, the reverse layup. No, but he's fouled. Jao Ituka got fouled as he went to the window. It'll be Leroy Odiahi, the Old Dominion University transfer, who also played junior college for his current head coach, Hank Plona. They were together at Indian Hills Community College in Iowa. And Atuka with the free throw.
Good substitution by Coach Harper. He took Kelron out to give him a breather, gets Jao back on the floor, and seemed like every time Jao has been inserted into the game, he has made something happen, primarily by driving to the basket like he did there.
And Atuka gets the pair. 5 minutes to go in this one. Jacksonville State leading Conference USA by 2 games on everybody going into action today. And there's again that running lay-in by Christian Lander.
He is so smooth.
He is.
To the basket. What a game. 23
points for Lander, 5 shy of his career high. Cotton. In trouble, Hogue hooks it up, it won't go, and then there's a foul, and it's going the other way.
Yeah, Hogue missed the shot, and out of frustration, just trying to get it back, goes over the back, clearly committing the foul.
So the whistle on Hogue, it'll be his first, the 5th team foul. That'll be 8 team fouls for the ball game. They don't normally foul much at all. McHenry nearly lost his footing. Oh, they're going to call Brigham.
That was a very late whistle. And the crowd letting the official hear about it.
Brigham reached in, and Coach Harper is saying his arm was up a little high. How did that trip him up?
You know, this has been a very physical conference game, and they've let them play. It's been a well-officiated game, but
yeah,
this was a late call. I think that's what drew the ire of the crowd and obviously Coach Harper.
So the Gamecocks watch now without a field goal in the last 3 minutes. Trying to inbound. They do, and a three out of the corner is good for Tyrone Marshall. He's got himself a 22-point performance. That's 2 points shy of his career best.
And 3 of 7 from deep for Marshall. What a weapon at 6'7".
Now there's a weapon at 7 feet. Yaroslav Niagu ties it at 75.
Off the assist from Jerron Pierre, his 4th assist of the game, which is right at his season average, which is 4th best in Conference USA this season.
This is a great ball game. Hope you're enjoying it here on ESPN+. Marshall, and he stepped out of bounds. He was standing out of bounds, says official Tim Fitzgerald. He was looking right up the line, and he said he grabbed it and he was stepping out of bounds. Meanwhile, number 6 Florida has defeated Auburn 90-81. That ends the Auburn Tigers' 14-game winning streak. Lots going on in basketball in the state of Alabama. Welcome back, everybody. Glad you're with us here in Jacksonville, Alabama. 2 teams, one that is in the mid-major top 25 poll, one that's getting votes in the mid-major top 25 polls, and they're playing like it.
Yes, they are. This is a great game, and no one that bought a ticket to this one has been disappointed or has left the building yet. This game is headed down to the wire. Great conference game today.
Jacksonville State, number 23 in the mid-major poll. Western Kentucky getting votes. And there is a jump ball with the arrow in favor of Jacksonville State. So the ball will belong to JSU. Jacksonville going for their 8th consecutive win. The Gamecocks are. Jack State playing well. Atuka gets it knocked out of his hands. He recovers it. Corey Cotton in the paint around the D, and he gets hit by Christian Lander, and the foul. Well, did they get him or Leroy Odiahi?
I think they got Odiahi.
They got Odiahi,
who came over and helped. As you'll see here, Lander was the primary defender, then the help defense. That's where the foul occurred.
In number 21 and not number 4. Either way, Cotton is at the line. He's shooting 88% on the year. Corey Cotton coming in 30 of 34. He's a perfect 3 of 3 here today. Building goes deathly silent. Shot no good. And the offensive board for Nicholson, who's back in replacing Niagu.
Marshall's drawn the assignment on Jerron Pierre, who looks to take Marshall one-on-one.
Got it. And Pierre, you see him banging his chest as he backpedals up the floor.
That's the only time Marshall's drawn Jerron Pierre, and I think it was off a switch, and Jerron wanted to take advantage of that shot opportunity.
That may never happen again. Here's Pierre.
Not that Marshall's not a good defender.
No,
he just can't stay with Jerron, and he knew he was going to be able to get a clean look at a three.
2 minutes, and the Gamecocks are starting to use some clock now. Shot clock you see at 10. Over the defense of Bayless, no good.
Boy, he almost got 2 in a row there.
4-point lead. Longest of the night for Jacksonville State, and that one is in and out. No good for McHenry.
Yeah, that one even went a little more down than JP's and still came out.
Jerron Pierre to the corner. Cotton. And he sees an opening, and he'll go to the window, and it's knocked out of his hands. Taken by Bayless. Left side feed back to Bayless. Clock down to 1:04. And the try doesn't go for Lander. And the rebound pulled down by Jacksonville State. That got the crowd back into this one with less than a minute to go. And a timeout taken by the Gamecocks. They've got one remaining as they had themselves in a jam there. A 30-second timeout by Jacksonville State. Looking ahead, folks, next week, Jacksonville State will go on the road. They play at Sam Houston State and at Louisiana Tech. That'll both be on ESPN+. They'll then return home to meet the Aggies, the Miners, and then wrap things up at Liberty before their final 2 games of the year. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky, they leave here and they will go home next Saturday. They don't play Thursday. They go home Saturday to host Middle Tennessee and Sam Houston State. They'll then stay home for a game against Louisiana Tech before traveling to New Mexico to face UTEP and New Mexico State. All of those games on ESPN+. So wherever you're listening, in Alabama or at Hilltopper Country or wherever you are, Conference USA's home is right here on ESPN+.
And Coach Harper putting Kelron House back in the game during that timeout, getting his primary ball handler along with Jerron Pierre in the game.
And a cross-court pass stolen. Lander leaves it off on the perimeter. Dropped out to Marshall. Lander, oh my, off the high glass on a timeout for Western Kentucky. They now have 1 remaining. And the Gamecocks are in a scoring drought of 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah, that was about as bad a sequence for Jack State as you can get. They had the ball inbounding with a 4-point lead, and JP, his pass, a poor pass and a steal, and then the bank in 3, and all of a sudden it's just a 1-point game with still plenty of time on the clock.
Looking at the season thus far, Western has played 1 overtime game. They defeated the Racers of Murray State on Saturday, December the 14th, beat them by 5. Jacksonville State has not played an overtime game yet this year. So that's the way things are standing as far as extra periods are concerned. Western Kentucky, 14 wins. They have had 48 20-win seasons. That's how good they have been, going back to Coach Diddle and all of those guys. The #1 team in the nation is Kentucky. They have had 66 20-win seasons, but Western with 48 20-win seasons. That's impressive.
That is an amazing stat to hear. What a program well established there at Western Kentucky, and there's been no quit in either one of these teams today. This has been a great game, especially here in the second half, and we're headed down to a photo finish here.
Inbounding it, House gets slapped accidentally by Christian Lander, but he slapped him right across the face. That'll be the second on Lander. He knew it. It was one of those unintentional ones. He was staring right at it, and he just said, "Take that."
And here we see it. Gilron getting the trap, and Lander with the obvious foul. And by the way, no timeouts for Western Kentucky, so they have to play it through. They cannot stop the clock anymore.
If we go to overtime, they will get an additional timeout, as would Jacksonville State if we go to the extra period. House, he's got 11. 4 men in double figures now for the Gamecocks. And 12. .25 seconds to go. 3-point game and a foul there on Michael Hogue. It'll be his second, and Joe Ituka will be coming in as a substitute here for Hogue.
You know, you almost got the sense that that was by design, but I could tell from Coach Harper's reaction, he did not want that foul, and he's calling Hogue over to the sideline. There you can see him talking to him. Coach Harper clearly did not want to take a foul there.
And the coach got an explanation from Hogue and began massaging his skull. So I don't know what it was he heard, but he didn't like it.
It didn't go over well, did it?
No. Christian Lander, good, has another one coming. That's 29 for Lander, a new career high. A new career high for Lander. He had 28 against UTEP earlier this year. And now 30. One-point game. Corey Cotton, good job. Ituka, nice movement up to Duran, and he's finally fouled on the reach-in by Jalen Jackson. It'll be his fourth. That was great work in breaking the press and pushing it up the floor.
Gamecocks were strong and decisive there, quick passes, and as you said, got it in the front court and got a chance to make it a 3-point game again here with a 1-and-1.
Here's Pierre. 26 points. Now 27. What a week, huh?
Yeah.
36 one day, at least 27 the next. He'd be a candidate for Player of the Week in Conference USA. And he gets the pair. Big time shooting. And timeout taken by the Gamecocks. You know, we talk about shooting, and we mentioned this the other day. It was a 4 o'clock local time ball game today. 2 minutes after 4 was the start time. And Duran was out here shooting at 1:37 this afternoon. I was already here sitting doing some work, and here came Duran and said hello and went out and shot for 35 minutes.
And you know, you mentioned win or lose, it's been 2 incredible back-to-back games for Pierre. The 36 points on Thursday, and then right now he's sitting at 28. You know, he didn't practice on Monday. They gave him a rare day off, and they were talking after the game that, you know, Coach Harper and Duran, that they think that made a big difference in his energy level. So Eli might get Monday off again next week.
He might.
And now strategy here, we mentioned earlier it looked like Hogue was told to foul. That wasn't the case. Jack State could possibly, with a 3-point lead, take a foul before the Hilltoppers could get off a 3. We'll see how they play it.
Here now the inbound. Lander to the forecourt. and has the ball knocked out of his hands. And asking for a replay is Marcellus Brigham. He says, I deflected it and it went off of him, and they're going to look at it. They're going to go across and take a look at the video. Coach Plona.
Yeah, you see, he's livid. And I think what Jack State was doing, I saw Jerron Pierre reach in aggressively. Marcellus reached in aggressively. I think both of those, either one of those could have been called a foul, but the official let him play. And we'll see here Marcellus in the reach in.
Yeah, it looked to me like it went off the hand of the man in black on the second reach. Not yet, not yet. Keep it rolling. Well, we're watching the same thing the officials are, so we don't have control. This is not coming out of the truck. It's coming from the officials' video.
Yeah, it's off his left hand.
It's off his left hand. Yep, no doubt about it. And everybody in the building, our telecast is being shown on the big screens here. Not with our audio, but the fans can see the pictures. And everybody on that last angle saw what it did.
And back to Coach Plona, he's obviously going to be upset if they lose this game. He's going to think this should have been a foul, but I will make this statement about the officiating today. This has been a consistently officiated game. I think for the most part, it's been a physical game. The officials have been in control of the game, but I would say they've let them play.
Yeah, another angle shows Lander and Brigham, but there's no question.
Coach Plona's literally, I've never seen this.
He's out on the logo.
He's staring at the replay screen here inside the Pete, standing by the official and pointing up to the replay screen with the official, begging for or saying there should have been a foul call. That is not something reviewable, obviously. It's only a possession question right now.
Now Coach Harper talking to the officials as well. Nothing heated, just a quick discussion there. And it is going to be Jacksonville State ball. It went out of bounds off Christian Lander. And a turnover on Western Kentucky. That'll be their 12th. JSU with 9 turnovers today. Here's the inbound. Brigham. Yes! For the Gamecock fans. They love it. Here's a long try. It's good, but that's the ball game. Jacksonville State wins it at the finish, 85-83. What a ball game.
This game feels like it was a long book with many chapters. You go all the way back to the way this game started. Western Kentucky came in and started this game red hot from the field, shooting over 70% for most of the first half. Wound up only leading by 6 at intermission. And in the second half, Eli, it was just a heavyweight bout. They were just swapping blows back and forth. A great game, great finish. The streak for Ray Harper and the Gamecocks continues.
That's Athletic Director Greg Seitz congratulating Coach Harper on the victory. I'll tell you, nobody's going to want to face Jacksonville State as we head down the stretch and towards tournament time in Huntsville, Alabama.
And, you know, it's just such a good competitive league this year. A lot of games left to be played. Jack State has clearly established themselves right now as the top team in the league. But, you know, I was noticing earlier, Middle Tennessee had the tough loss here Thursday. They went over to Atlanta, and last check, they were up by 10 in the second half against Kennesaw. So they're not going to go away. Liberty won today. They would held a strong challenge at home against Sam Houston and won by 3. So we've got some fun basketball ahead in this league.
No doubt about it. Looking at some of the numbers, folks, individual scoring, 28 for Jerron Pierre. He just continues. In the last 2 games, he's at 36 and 28.
Yeah, and again today it was a
slow start too.
It was, but so efficient. He wound up 9 of 18 from the floor, which is 50% shooting. You know, on Thursday he was 10 of 16 from 3, which is over 50% from deep. So Jerron Pierre has put together an incredible back-to-back games here. Big reason why the Gamecocks won both of these games at home this week, and their winning streak remains alive.
He had 28 Cotton had 13, Jao Etuka had 13, and Kelron House had a dozen. Meanwhile, for the Hilltoppers, 30 points for Lander, a brand new career high for him. They go behind him with Marshall's 22, Bayless's 15, and 10 for McHenry, who was fairly quiet. And there you see the final score when all is said and done. Jacksonville State 85, Western Kentucky 83. So for Mickey Shadracks, I'm Eli Gold saying so long from Jacksonville, Alabama. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and are archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.